So for most of us, we're well into our fall lawn care season, and so I want to use this video to kind of talk about where we're at, where we're going, and what to expect next. Let's get out of the weeds. Thank you guys for coming back to yet another video. So most of us have probably done our fall renovations by now at this point, or if not, it's coming up pretty soon, because for most of us, we're really far into the window. For some of you, I'm in central Indiana, and so our temperatures right now have been kind of daytime highs in the mid to upper 60s, with lows getting into the like mid 40s or so. And so for some of you that are farther north than where I am in the country, you may have already started to get some freezing temperatures at night and things. And so really, our season's going to be winding down here pretty soon for most of us with cool season grass. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is to kind of get into what to expect in the last month and a half of the lawn care season as we kind of start to wind things down. Now for me, it's been just about a month since I did my aeration and overseeding, and my lawn is looking really good. I showed you guys an update last week talking about where my grass was at, and it was looking really good. Before I get into the content today, I wanted to give you guys an update on my parents' lawn. And so it's only been about a week and a half and since I had seeded and did all the renovations at my parents' house, and they've started sending me pictures of what they're seeing already. And so you can see here, just a few days after we did everything, they started to see a little bit of the baby grass pop up. And then now they sent me a picture, I believe just yesterday, and man, the whole thing is just starting to really take off. Everything is looking really, really, really good. And it's because they have a great watering plan. I had stressed a ton of times to them about making sure it gets good, adequate water so that the seed is encouraged to germinate. And man, is it paying off. Now, as far as the grass seed that I used the same grass seed that I used over on my lawn. So it was the Barenbrug RTF. So it's the Rhizonomus tall fescue. And so it was the first time I've ever used that grass, so I wanted to kind of see how things were going to be with it. And man, it's really starting to look good. And so since it's a turf type tall fescue, it would typically say germination time between 10 to 14 days. But with them giving it so much water and being really consistent with a good watering plan, they were able to see germination happen much, much quicker. So now really with our lawn care program, as we're getting into this a few weeks after we started to do our renovations, what we're really doing is just kind of in just a nice groove. Make sure your lawn's getting the adequate water if you're not getting rain help, and then make sure you just go out and mow it as you see necessary. Now with your new grass that's coming up, you're going to slowly start seeing it blend in with the grass beside it to eventually get to the point where you have a hard time even telling where you planted grass seed. So for example, behind me, there were a lot of areas in my backyard here that needed a lot of work, that were really thinned out and had died a little bit. And so I did a lot of new seeding back here. And you can tell just from looking back here, it's really hard to tell where I had any bare spots. And so that's one of the things you're going to be able to see. You're going to slowly be able to work everything in and just start to be able to mow your grass like normal as you start to see that grass come up, and you can kind of just get back in to a good lawn care rhythm. So what you'll notice here is I show you a growth chart of cool season grass. When we get that good spurt in the fall, that window that most of us are in right now, this window comes and goes very, very quickly. And what you'll notice is even though your grass is really looking good and doing well, you're going to get to a place to where you're not really mowing as frequently. Just because we're not getting as good of temperatures and things like that, the grass is still kind of just gently slowing down as we get into kind of our winter time. Also for us with cool season grass is there really isn't a ton of weed competition at this phase in the season. Most everything that's in your lawn weed wise is already going to have shown up by this point. And so your grass is really kind of being able to just go and do its thing with very little competition that you don't already see. So this has led to me getting several questions from viewers asking about when they're doing the renovations and stuff, attacking weeds and kind of like what kind of strategy they should do. Now, with our good mild daytime temperatures, you definitely can. You can put down stuff to fight off those weeds, but typically in the fall, unless you really have a bad weed problem, I like to play more offense on my lawn by boosting my lawn with fertilizer, new grass seed, by aerating, doing all the renovation things to get your lawn better by playing offense right now. Because right now, as I said, with the lack of weed competition for new things popping up, we can just go attack our lawn and really put our emphasis on that side of it. Whereas when we get into spring and summer in those areas, we have a ton of other competitions. And so I like to spend the other time of the year to play defense and try to hold off everything that's trying to get into my lawn. But for fall, I really like to just stick to an offensive game plan to really just kind of work on my lawn, get it stronger. And then it's also going to help me on the back end when I get into spring and that, when I prepare to start fighting off those weeds that are going to start showing up. Typically, whenever you're introducing any kind of new grass seed to your lawn, you want to stay away from putting any chemicals on your lawn because many of them can hurt the new seed that you put down, preventing it from germinating. There is a few things out there that you can get that you can also put down with seeding that will help fight weeds. The most common and best one that I know of personally is tenacity. It's actually one that you can put down right with your seeding. It won't affect the germination of your new seed and can really help start to fight off some of those pesky weeds that you have in your lawn. But for me personally, I think that the best defense against any weeds you don't want in your lawn is to have a good, strong, thick, healthy lawn, and that'll help fight off weeds better than anything else you can do. And so that's why I stress so much to really just boost up your lawn at this time of year. So now there may be some of you who are like, ah, crap, I didn't even know we were in a good grass seeding window. That's okay. I don't want you to just run to the store, buy whatever grass seed you want and just start throwing it down, because depending on what it is, you may not have enough time if it's later in your season. What you can do, if you want to try to still do some seeding, but you think you're getting towards the end of your window, I'd recommend going with a quick germinating grass seed. So you want to, for the most part with cool season grass, the big one is perennial ryegrass, which you can get germination to start in 4 to 7 days. And so if you want to try to still do some seeding, I'd recommend getting a mix that for sure is heavy with the perennial ryegrass, so that way you can give it a chance to try to get established before we get our first frost. And so if you go and you think you still have 3 or 4 weeks before you might get your first frost, go get some perennial ryegrass and then start seeding that in some of those areas. Perennial ryegrass will germinate very quickly. So what you want to do is put the seed down just like I did in my previous videos, and then you just want to make sure you're watering it consistently, keeping it moist constantly. Do not want to let the seed dry out. This will help it to germinate closer to that 4 days than to germinate closer to that 7 days if you're in a tight window. But if you think that you are pushing it a little bit too close to when you're going to be getting your frost, then you can just wait until the spring. It is possible to seed in the spring. It's just a little bit more difficult than what it is into the fall. Now, for those of you who have gotten everything down early and are not worried, great job. You're way ahead of it. Just go and enjoy the benefits of everything that you have done so far to your lawn. So look out for the next couple weeks when I begin to put out videos talking about closing down and shutting down our lawn for the season. And so there's going to be some certain steps that I recommend you take as you lead up to your final mow and our final winterizer fertilizer application. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time when we get out of the weeds into a beautiful lawn.